password security is something that many people look over and they don't really consider. They think just by making a password longer that it makes it harder to crack. That's not necessarily true, but it is true to some degree. So when you take and extend the length of a password and don't use something that is simple like the most common password, which is password, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those aren't good passwords. As many sites will tell you, a solid password contains an uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number, and a symbol. Now, the reason for this is it makes the complexity much higher, and therefore it takes a lot more processing power to brute force attack and break through. Now, brute force attacks are great in the sense that if you have enough processing power, you can break something. But the problem is, for every character you add, it makes it exponentially harder to crack the password using brute force. But if you use something like, say your name is Bob, and then you say your last name is Robert, or I don't really know. So if you go say Bob 123 Robert, well, that's not too hard to crack because that has personal information in it. Same as if you use part of your email or part of your username as it. So when you do that, you run into the problem of it's easy to crack it through social engineering and through looking at the other information connected to your account. Now, that's another method of cracking in and why you need more complex passwords. So the other one is dictionary attacks. That's why you shouldn't have any words or any legible words. You can do, say, Mary is 14 exclamation mark. So for Mary, you would do M, and for the A, you would do the @ symbol, and then you'd finish out Airy, do capital IS for is, and then you'd have the exclamation mark. So that's what? 7-character password? Add another character in there for anything. So it can be sentences, but the thing is you have to include symbols and letters and numbers, and numbers in order to change out the actual words into non-words that contain symbols but still make sense when you read it. This is so it's easy to remember, because something like XXQ10 B9 17 exclamation mark 14 period. Can you remember what I just said? I can't. So if you have a different one for each account that you have, which is another password security thing I'll move on to in a second, you have to think about can you remember your password, and can you remember your password when you need to get it quickly for whatever reason, and is it just an easy password to remember but a hard one to crack? That's really what you're going for. The easiest password to remember but hardest to crack. And there's a combination of what makes one easier or whatever. So you kind of have to go back and forth between them and pick where your happy medium is. So I mentioned a second ago about how you want to have different passwords for each account. The reason for this is just like the reason why you have a different PIN for each of your credit cards and your bank card. It's simply because you don't want someone to get one and then just have one PIN to get in. That is a very unsecure way and very potentially dangerous. I'm going to use the card thing, but it can apply to, say, different email accounts or a forum account and an email and your Facebook and your Twitter and whatever. So look at it this way. If you have your bank PIN and never have this as your bank PIN. All 4 zeros. Do you really think that you should have that as the same for your Visa or your MasterCard? No. The reason for that is it's easy to figure out to go from one to the other. It's like, okay, I know that Jim has his PIN is all 4 zeros, so I should then take and go to his next card that I stole from his wallet, and you try the same PIN. Oh, voila, it works. Isn't that just wonderful? No, that actually is a major security risk, and although it's harder to remember PINs, I like to use patterns. So just like you have that 9 thing lock on your phone, the 9 dot lock, and you move around, think of doing something like that, or just say, okay, it's these 3 here and that random one there, or it's an L, or it's an X, or it's all 4 corners, or something memorable, yet still not just a string of numbers, like in concession with each other. So you don't want like 1 to 4. That's a terrible combination, or anything like that. So I hope you guys got an idea of what a better password is and why you really need to make sure you fine-tune your passwords to ensure that they're solid and secure. And remember, change your password every 3 months to be more secure. That is just a recommendation, because if you change it that often, then you're going to have less chance of getting hacked unless they actually get into the database. A brute force attack is not going to work against that if you have a proper password. And if you're wondering about how to remember all these different passwords, I'm going to have a video coming out next week on 5 Android apps, and in there is an app called KeePass. And in that, you'll get a little small explanation on what it actually is and why it's a good thing to have on your phone. Anyways, head over to Twitter, check me out there. Leave a like down below because you know it makes you sexy. And subscribe for more videos like this and other tech videos, and I'll see you